Okay, so we've been thrown a curveball with Dupree not being available, and I wasn't expecting that, if we're being honest. Like, it just sort of came out of nowhere, right? It just came out of nowhere. How Dupree is now injured. I'm like, hey, no band. It's like there's someone or there's something that wants Dupree to play by fire, by force. And I'm at a point where I'm like, Caleb, he's going to play every game. Even players will get injured just so that Caleb can play. Oh my days! It's just it's just nice to be Caleb. I was trying to check if my audio is working on YouTube as well, because the other time it wasn't working. So that's the thing. So guys, welcome again. So khona umuntu osevotile what it's going to be a draw. I know Mandla is the one who said it's a win because he was the first one on the video. So I know that's what's up. Okay, yeah. So guys, forgive me for my skepticism. I'm using phone because I'm just the audio, because I fear I will use the camera. Maybe it's going to be too much load for the laptop again, and then it's gonna crash. So I will try perhaps at some point to use a camera, but I'm fearing, man. This thing has been doing me dirty. Like we've lost 18 minutes. So let's just talk about the starting 11 then, because I think line up here to Vele. There is no one who can complain that much about stuff, because because our biggest problem is going to be up front again. Yazi inkinga yethu is going to be up front. Like, it's always our problem up front ukuthi those guys will drink us clean, like live on television, and literally live. It's not even like I am exaggerating. It's literally what they do. They do this stuff live on television. But today, as we've been saying for the past few weeks, we are trying to be the positive peeps and say this team will show us flames. The Chiefs will show people flames today. The Chiefs will perform. The Chiefs will do the things that need to be done. And that's what we want to see from our team. It's just that they don't do it. Anyways, let me plug in this camera here, guys. What do you think about the game before it even starts? Because I want to hear your thoughts. And so drop them below, and also vote. It also votes. Right. Okay, here we are. Let me add the camera now and see what happens. And see, my face is over there. And obviously I need to adjust the camera so that the illusion can stay true. There we go. Now the lie continues. Anyways, starting 11, interesting developments, because, well, at the back we still basically have the same we have the same starting back five, should I say, if I'm including the keeper as well. Peterson, right, Quinik, right back, you'd expect that. And then you have Ngezana, you have Dove, you have Hlant. Hlant once again is just there, but I'm like, yeah, I am saying the starting 11 match. So right back Quinika, center back is Ngezana and Dove, then left back is Hlant, right? Eswini, you can see good, it's still going to be Stebe and Matt, and then Guiteni is Ushabalala. And then on the left, we'll have Utoli, and through the middle, Kosiyami, Caleb. And then on the right, it's Sahil. I hope that's what he does, unless somehow Zwane changes the system, but I don't think he will. Because, well, in any case, even in the previous game, he did play Utoli on the left, and then played Dupree through the middle. So today what's going to happen is that he's just swapped, basically. He has swapped Dupree, who's injured, for he has swapped Dupree for Caleb. And Caleb, who is just going to score today and make me feel stupid for saying he is, but yeah, he's a waste of space. But but he's playing, and ama-subs there too. We have Ukune, who's just there, Udube, Ungobo, no Dube, who are just there. Mashiane, who's gonna come in on the 85th minute. We have Matlatsi, who's back on the reserve bench. Well, that's thanks to the injury to Dupree. And then we have Hatebe, we have Sekhota, we have Uzwane, we have Udube. So they wrote Uguti Dube vele because he's Dube, but we know what they actually mean Utuba, not Dube. It's Duba. So our bench, if you're looking at our bench, you know with Mashiane from what he did against Pietermaritzburg, that's one player you can expect Uguti can come off the bench and do something. You know Uguti Hatebe doesn't have minutes this season, hasn't had any game time at all. So that's also like not looking really good for him, or for us for that matter, because we want him to play, but he won't be playing. And then you also have, I just thought right now I need to go and delete the other stream that other people are probably going to and they're watching. And the moment I did that, the computer started lagging a bit. So yeah, indaba yami lapho ukuthi if you look at our bench, which has been our concern, my concern and other people's concern as well, ngizofunda ama comments in a second, ukuthi our bench doesn't look like one which you can go to and say, hey, we need someone who's going to make things happen. Hey, look no further, we have an attacking midfielder on the bench. It just looks like right, it doesn't look like a bench that you can trust. I said a bank that you can trust, a bench that you can trust. So it's bleak. It's really bleak, and it stays like this where you go like, management, y'all should do the right thing and sign the players. And they knew this. Like, your bench must be as good as your first team squad. Not your first team squad, but I think it was Jürgen Klopp who said you must not have a starting 11, you must have a starting 15, basically, and essentially saying that your squad must consist of enough players uguti it doesn't matter who's out of the game. At the end of the day, it should be about uguti you always have equality on the players that travel to the match. So with the Chiefs, I cannot say that. I cannot say is starting 11 say Chiefs is very convincing to me, because I know for a fact, well, yeah, starting 11 on its own, it's not convincing. But then if I take it further and say, oh, it's not just the starting 11 that's not convincing, it's also the fact that it's also the fact that other players who are there are not working really well and they are not even available. So I think I'm going to delete that other live stream, because people are going to that other video and they are watching it. So I've had to delete that one, and that's why you're not seeing my face, because people were being redirected to the wrong live stream which has ended and it's not working. So yeah, excuse me for that. So for now, I just want to read some of your comments as well and hear what you guys think about the game. Right, so spin around. There we go. Is it showing? Yep, it's showing. Yeah, okay. Right. I like it when this happens. Okay, so the first comment is from Ipola Imekancane. Okay. Mandla was saying we're back. And then Mandla is saying he's being hopeful to be honest, because he thinks it's going to be a draw. You think it's going to be a draw, Mandla? For some reason, I'm just believing Guti Chiefs can actually make things happen for some reason. I can't tell you which reason, but there is a reason. There is some reason, or it's just purely being a fan. Uguti, I'm hopeful Uguti Chiefs can actually do something and give us something from this game, because wow, indaba yokuthi we Caleb no Sahile in the same game, it makes me scared or fearful rather, because it means our players, because they are who they are, they could just try and play helicopter football and not actually play the thing that they're supposed to, the way that they're supposed to play. And then we have uSpesihle who says bengicela lenyanga ka Caleb please, because wow, like seriously, indaba ka Caleb mina I still don't get it to this day. I will say this. I kind of forced myself into getting it, because I won't lie and pretend I never said, oh, Caleb is promising. I did think that, but now I've gotten enough evidence to tell Ulona Westbetela kahle he's not make sure. So yeah, Caleb is just not doing the things. Amanda says my true feeling is a draw, but I'll say we'll win. Classic Kaizer Chiefs fan. You and I, we are Chiefs and Chiefs is us. We are hopefully optimistic. Usizo say who's in the starting 11, Pilo. I've just said who's in the starting 11. But I will say it again. For those of you who don't know who's in the starting 11, look here. It's here. It's scrolling down here on the text. It's scrolling which direction? This direction. Yeah. So now it's the starting 11. As you can see, there is Peterson, Gezana, Dove, Kweneka, Hlanti, Setebe, Mat, Shabalala, Doli, BMM Nyama, Usaile. Then ama-subs kuzoba ukhune, uNcobo, uDube, uMashane, uMahlatsi, uHatebe, Sehota, uZwane, uDuba. Those are our people abaku starting 11 sethu. So inkinga nje enkulu le kaDoli no Caleb. Umandla says the one good thing is that Duba will probably get a chance this game. You see, that's why I like you, Amandla. That's why I like you. You're always finding the positives out of these things, because yeah, that's the thing, Veluguti. Since he won't be coming off the bench, that basically means he will be like, Caleb won't be coming off the bench. That means there is a higher chance for Umfana Wagaduba to get a chance in the second half, because Vele, one of the forwards, will be taken out and Uduba stands a good chance today of playing. So if you think about it, that's the only positive out of this, as Mandla said. That's the only positive out of this, Uguti. You have Uduba who has a chance to play today. So I just hope Uguti the occasion, not even the occasion, because it's not like it's a derby, but the fact that he's not played in such a long time and then he plays, Uguti, that doesn't like mess with his head. Because if you're available today and you are playing, the one thing, and you get a chance to play, the one thing that could be a problem for Uduba is for him, Uguti, he will then think, oh my God, today's my chance to prove myself, especially if Caleb has a bad first half and then it gets subbed in the second half. Then Uduba will be like desperate to say, let me prove myself, Uguti, I'm good enough for you, coach. Is this good enough for you, coach? And if it doesn't do that, then he underperforms, and then all of a sudden it ends up just adding pressure on him. Uguti, he gets another chance, it doesn't perform. And as we have seen, what I think is said about the Chiefs, Uguti, we, with the youngsters, with the guys, the young guys like Abo Zwane, when they make mistakes, it's like Bona, they just get benched. Like, it's easier to bench those guys. And I've been saying this even with Uplom Guti, when he didn't like massively perform against him, he was the same Royal AM beginning of the year. He was then benched, like beginning of the season. He was then benched, and then there was never anything about him, like until he came back against Richards Bay, by the way. That's why he came back and played as a defensive midfielder. And then we saw, okay, this is a person who can rescue our defensive midfield. And that was it. So basically Blom had to win Zwane's approval to basically play the game. So no duba na no mtu, not duba, not mtu, but umfanakazana lo akaduba naye, when he comes on, he will have that on his head, and I hope it doesn't get in his head too much to a point that he ends up underperforming and then ruining the whole thing in the first place. So the next thing is the comment from Umandla is saying it's Caleb Doski. We have a Caleb Doski, Tina. It's no Caleb Doski. Now Sizwe Dlamini say, okay, not Sizwe. Eso says Caleb and Dolly. You, those were my thoughts exactly. The moment I heard to see Dupre's injured, I was like, ah. And it has to tell you something. If we are complaining or like crying over the fact that Dupre is not available, it tells you how much quality our team has. Because Guayenu Dupre, he's not done very well like in recent games. Like he's not. He misses chances for days. He gets in the right places. Yes, he puts the amount of pressure on defenses and forcing them to make mistake or not to be comfortable on the ball at the back. But beyond that, you look at Dupre, he's just missing chances for fun. It's as if sometimes you would literally swear, Guti, this guy is like, he's saying, can I make a worse miss than the previous one? And he's not, he's just missing because he lacks a composure. So the fact that we are complaining or feeling bad Guti is not available tells you Guti Chiefs is really in trouble. Not Guti now we want him to be benched, but what we do want is for him to score more goals than he is scoring, or to even convert more chances than what he's converted so far this season. Gonna take off my jacket because it's making me too inflexible, unflexible, whichever word you wanna go with. But as I said, Uguti, one of the things is Kalangazo that I've been saying the entire season, Uguti, I've been hopeful, yes, because there are players that Gutuzana will play. Like Abo Matt, Gutu Matt is gonna play. Abo Caleb, Gutu Caleb's gonna play. If it doesn't start, he's gonna come on at halftime. Oh, by the way, I forgot, guys. Please like the video, ne? Please like the video. Things have been all over. Muntu khohlwe na ukucela like today. So okay, I'm saying ukuthi Chiefs right now, we are in so much trouble to a point that we are missing what to pray, and the bench is not looking solid. But what can we say? That's what we have to work with, so we will work with it. Anyways, moving on to the next comment from Ubonkosi says, poor bench, no one seems to be a game change, bruh. Like, the worst thing though, you know what's worse about having a poor bench or a perceived poor bench is the fact that even if you do bring them on, we don't actually give those players enough time to even show up or to do something different for the team. Umangete really needs to fix this thing. He's allergic to making subs in a game, because why not make subs? Why not make subs? Because it's like plan B, and I've been saying that to Utimena in most of the games that we've played, if not all of them. Usually, not all of them, because the Cape Town City game I wasn't impressed. But usually with Uzwane, all the games that I see him play, Uplan A wake is always solid. But when it comes to Uplan B wake, guys, that's where he just struggles a lot. And that becomes a problem of mine, Uguti. Okay, great. Now we're here. We're back with the camera. Ha ha ha. Back with the camera. Ha ha ha. Yes, so as I was saying, Guti, Uzwane, what seems to be the biggest problem is the plan B part of his gaming, of his planning. Yeah, we're back. Ukuthi umuntu angayiqala kahle game, but then second half all of a sudden he doesn't make a sub. That's just the first thing that makes people go like, but then he makes a sub, but a poor one. And then the good one, he makes it later on in the game, which is what concerns a lot of us. But we can only be hopeful. That's the only thing that can help us right now, because going to the game already depressed is not healthy for you, ne? So let's try and be positive, Makosi. Let me try and look at the positives, ne? Let's talk about the positives of this game. So for starters, Ungezana no Dove had a good partnership against the Pirates. So that's good, right? Because we have something to build on. That partnership worked pretty well in the previous game. So all we have to do now is to follow up the good performance with another good performance. It's as simple as that. Also, if you're looking at the right back position, Ukweneka played much better as a right back compared to center back, which has been committing and causing us games from day to day. So that's good. So those are the two things. Upita had another clean sheet again last game. That's another positive. You go to the defensive midfield position. Since Ustebe came back, that's also a positive thing. Yoguti, he has been like, not like a spark that goes crazy, but they do put in the work. He does put in the work. I will say about him, he does put in the work, and I appreciate that. He does work hard, and the fact that he's even back in the starting 11, that's because he has worked hard so far. So that's another thing about him, Guti. That's another positive. And obviously, Umtu plays with so much confidence. And before I move on from our defensive midfielders, the other positive thing about them, right? I said I'm trying to only talk about the positive things because I'm phone negative. No. Another thing is the fact that today, Richards Bay, I know Kosimbegazeli said he thinks Richards Bay has better quality than us, but I don't think Richards Bay will try and attack, right? Because if they do, then we're in trouble. Yabo, we're in trouble. But if they don't try to attack, then that means it's going to give more freedom to who's this guy, to Matt Nostebe to play better, right? Because they won't be worried so much about going back, but they'll be worried about going forward. And that means we have more bodies going forward. That means we can now get the creativity Stebe, the creativity Mati, like closer to the front line. And also we're just overloading the final third of the pitch, unlike when we're playing against teams that can just attack. Then in those games we tend to be like a bit reserved. We don't want to go out and attack a team, and at the end of the day you end up losing a game. So I think that could be a positive. That's if Richards Bay does not attack us. So talking about Amayama positive, Ustaile on the right is really has really shown Uguti he's good as a player and playing from that right. And also another positive is the fact that he's chosen and he's picked to play on the right. Second game in succession. And we've been saying this, Uguti Uzwana must play him as a right winger because he's the kind of player who takes on players and he can dribble successfully and cut into his left foot. We haven't seen him take a good shot that's curling and curving and that ended up being a goal, but that's besides the point. The point is he can take on players from that right position and go into the box. Guys, please like the video. It helps to reach more people like you. Thank you. Okay, let's continue. Sahil is a positive. Utoli. Ngiyazama ngithi ngishilo ngathi I'm trying to be positive. The only thing I can say about Utoli, that is a positive. That could be a positive. Is if we get a free kick. If we get a free kick in a game like this, he might deliver, right? So one can only hope ukuthi he actually gets a free kick and gets something that he can write home about and say I scored a free kick. Or even if it's not a free kick, even if it means assisting today, yabo, it delivery yakhe lands at the right area for who's this guy? Caleb. Because I think he hasn't done anything. I'm not gonna say he has done anything. I'm saying I'm trying to be positive about the team overall, because what I want, I've talked a lot, like the past 20 minutes were just about the things that could go wrong. So maybe we should just talk about the positive for once, for a change. So if Utoli, one thing that could go right for him is if he gets the right deliveries into the box. I wanted to say, but then Caleb will have to move to the right areas. I just hope he gets the right deliveries to the box, because on the players that are there, Utupre usually cuts in. But Yena, last week he was just kept quiet by Pirates. But that's because they expected Uguti we might attack that side. So, okay, if he gets the ball, he can play the good deliveries into the box. And also, if Uguti, we are not going to use him as an out-and-out winger, then he should get into the box, into the midfield, and make it a box midfield. If you don't know what a box midfield is, basically, it's since we have two defensive midfielders, one attacking midfielder. I mean, it usually Mobuk Arsenal, if you look at Arsenal have two midfielders, and then Zinchenko adds into the attacking midfielders, and they end up having four people in the attacking in the midfield, right? So in this case, since Utoli is not one who's going to be expected to run in behind, unless they expect that from him, which I won't understand, because then if he runs in behind, that means we are forcing him across, and I don't want Chiefs to play him crosses, because we've seen over and over and over again with him crosses don't work. So Utoli could add and use his ability on the ball to get into the midfield and basically do overload Yalelo side Guti. We just congest the midfield, we play with Umati, Ustebe, and then Utoli drops into that role as well, and then Umtu is also in that position. In that way, if Umtu moves to the right, Utoli follows, and in that way it's easy to always just overload his side like what, right? But he will have to be careful, obviously, Uguti. If Utoli is not occupying that space, then that means Uhland is all alone on the left, in which case then Ustebe will have to cover for him. It's a lot of intricacies, but it's doable. It's doable because the player that you have is not necessarily a crosser of the ball. Maybe also mama kuguthi udlala ne-strike ekwazi ukwenza ama-movement right, which Caleb is not, then you can use him as a crosser of the ball. But what we need is just need to dominate in midfield, have enough of the ball, force Richards Bay to always play the ball through the middle, where we'll always have a numerical advantage, and always know we have outlet Sahil who's going to take players on, and then Uhlandi can also overlap on the left, and then we can give him the ball. Doesn't have to cross the ball again, he just has to cut the ball back to the congested midfield area, and then we can do whatever we want with the ball, because that's something that I feel like Chiefs can do, or that is best for Chiefs to do in this game. Uspesihle says another day to see Peterson, Gezana, Dove, Sithebe, Shabalala, and Sahil. Ngathi the rest of them overrate Uspesihle. Manda says, I really hope that now that Caleb is starting, that we don't do helicopter football. Ngithi ngiyeke ndaba Caleb. Ngasho ngathi it increases my blood pressure if I talk about Caleb, so I try to not talk about him as much. Caesar says we only have plan A and no other plans whatsoever. It's worrying because it seems like Sugese Senza usually with these subs in the second half. It's not like something that seems like, oh, he did think Uguti is gonna bring on this player in case plan A doesn't work, and that's always concerning, obviously, Uguti. Then what do you do if you're looking at your team and you can't find solutions off the bench, because that means your bench is just the accompanying cast. They're not there to play. They're just there to accompany. 14 minutes before the game starts, and Usianda says, "Uyaphi nje uCaleb engabe bafaka uDuba." I think the only positive when Sianda is what Mandla said, ukuthi now what we do have is the fact that Ulokunja can always come on, Umtu can come on second half. That's the only positive with Caleb starting, because now you don't have to worry about Caleb coming off the bench, but you still have to worry about Caleb being kept a grounding for 75 minutes. But the positive is that Umtu is most likely to start to play the game in the second half. Avela says, I just don't understand why we have Caleb there. I suka lo mntu andimfuni mina uyinkomo. Hey, about today Caleb should prove us wrong. I want him to prove us wrong. I just want him to do it and this prove wrong. Sibe happy. Weird enough, him proving us wrong will actually be him winning the game for us, which is a long shot, but what can I say? I have to be hopeful, right? Something will work out. Otherwise, I would be miserable every time Caleb gets the ball, which I don't want. But anyways, Sibongo Buko say, okay, I almost skipped Unat. Bezo buya down my comments. At Bompilo, you skip my comment. Unat says, Olampilo Nation, siyawena namhlanje. Yebo cause Sibongo Buko says, as much as we fans don't want Caleb to start, but Richards Bay is going to be hard to break, but Sahel is going to get a long space behind, a lot of space behind him too, also because Richards Bay is hard to break down. It's exactly why we don't need Caleb. That's exactly why we don't need Caleb. And there is no space that Sahel is going to get if Richards Bay sit deep. Because the whole idea of sitting back and being hard to break is so that you don't allow the team's space behind. And if you are playing against a team like that, then you need technical players, you need ball players who are going to shift the ball as quickly as possible. Caleb is none of that, right? So if you have umtu uyakwazi ukudropper ayo landi bola, take on a player, pass the ball wide, go collect, and then there's a lot of movement. Umtu is making a move, Utol is making a move, maybe Kunika is even overlapping. A lot of movement. That's what playing against these hard to break teams requires. It requires you to shift the team around until they like running until they can't actually deal with you, and then they can concede goals. But if you're playing against a team, against the Richards Bay, and then Ufagumuntu who does not know how to make right movements, he doesn't even know how to attack the ball in the box, yet he's so tall, then that makes you concerned, Uguti. How are we going to break them down? Because the only thing the Chiefs will end up doing if Richards Bay do sit deep is Uguti Chiefs will just try to play the crosses. And once we start playing the crosses, then you know Uguti game is not going anywhere. We tried that system twice when we were playing against teams that had one-man shots, especially against ETS Galaxy. That was when it was even more disappointing. But inkinga enkulu ilokhu ukuthi you don't need to Caleb, a player who does not know how to move off the ball. But hopefully he does something. That's the only thing that I hope he can do. Specifically, Daniel says, our bench is not appetizing at all. I remember Sakhota being our hope, but now, he's just off these days. But Usakhota has never been on. Can we just be honest about that for a second? Usakhota has never been on this entire season. Usakhota, what he's been doing, he gets the ball, he runs, Asutulukshisama defend. And beginning of the seasons, our defenders struggled to deal with that, because as much as he did all of those things without even thinking those things through, they worked because our defenders were not expecting that. But now they know what he doesn't think. He's just going to force. So Rinkosam to say doesn't think. It doesn't seem like he thinks. So he just forces the move wide all the time. So now defenders anticipate that. As such, they make sure they stop him from doing it. And because of that, Usakhota is now being found out by defenders. It's not that he's dropped off level. No. Usakhota is still doing the same thing that he was doing beginning of the season. It's just that now they figured him out because he has one way of playing, and that's the problem with him. Unkoksi says Nkosi Nation today ngibona i-draw. My reasons for that, i-Chiefs iyahluleka ukugcina ibhola isikhathi eside ngakuyona namathuba abawatholayo first half abawasebenzisi ngendlela iyona into ezokwenza bengawini bra. And you are right ngempela. And khona Caleb namhlanje, I just hope someone steps up ongezana on a corner or something. I honestly couldn't care less if we won by a header or whatever. I just want us to win. I just want us to have momentum, and from that build the confidence. I just want Ugut as a bonus Utuba to come in and have a good game and say to Zwane, here, this is what I can do. If there is anything that I hope for from this game, is that Utoli can somehow recover his form and Ugutu Tuba comes in and changes the game. And Ugutu Zwane ends ama-subs zakhe as early as possible. Umandla says, my other worry is the stadium. We barely play in small grounds, so I don't know how that will factor in. Yeah, before the other stream ended, I actually said I don't even know why we're in that stadium to begin with. Is Moses Mapida not available like for this biggest game in Durban this weekend? Because whenever there's Chiefs, there's gonna be crowds, and it's after payday. Like, I don't get why EPSL allowed this, because as I said earlier on, if Chiefs loses and fans decide to invade the pitch, then Chiefs is going to be fined. And I don't know why we go back to stadiums that are not good enough. Guys, please do like the video. Untia says Tole hasn't done much. Let's not lie. Yeah, we know he hasn't done a lot this season. Manda says Tole has been delivering very poorly, to be honest. His corners, etc., haven't been good. They should let him also deliver some set pieces. You remember when we were playing against Chipa, when he was asked to take that set piece and he kept on making the fence, hyping the fence. Oh, shame, and he didn't make a good delivery. That was funny. But yeah, he at the very least deliver good balls, get an assist or something, because for midfielders, I know it matters. Now when I played as a midfielder, it mattered when I picked a player running in behind who then scored a goal. So I want him to at least get something. Utoli, he's going to start every game between now and the end of the season. Most likely, 90% likely that will happen. So he might as well pick up a form, because we can say Uti is not going to get the bench anytime soon. Okay, Nkosi Mkiza says, but I'm in Umlazi. I hope Chiefs zone and namhlanje noma kanjani. Are you at the stadium or are you just in Umlazi in general? Manda says lately Tole has been struggling to clear the near post player in corners and free kicks, which question makes you question Guti kanti in practice what you mean? Like, what do you guys do at the gym? Why would you just nje? Aula Rona Amate says, thank you so much for the pre-match show. Uyandidiga uSibanibani wasesibanibani. He thinks he's a star like so and so. Thanks forward to great analysis as always. Thank you so much. I love how I bled myself out of that. And then thank you. Untalingebo says we should have started with Zwane and Sithebe in midfield. Caleb will be defending against us. I said if you are playing with Caleb, it's like you are playing against 12 people and you have 10 players in their field of play, because Caleb is going to just, okay, let's not decree. I believe izwi lenkosi lithi umlomo yadala, right? Lithi yabo. So I'm just going to say, Caleb ngegama uzoyenza izinto zenzeke. Awuthi decree ke manje ngithi Caleb is going to perform today. I am being positive, because angifuni sibe negative going to the game. So Caleb, come on Caleb, come on Caleb, come on you Burundian, come on you Black Panther, you can do this. Come on Caleb, come on. I am gaslighting myself. I'm gaslighting you. I want you to be excited. I want you to go into the game and say Caleb. You know, be optimistic, because, well, he hasn't given us anything to hope for, but we have to create it ourselves, the excitement, you know, because what can we say? Utalingebo says, oh, in that midfield, Uzwane and Osteb. Uzwane, I said this thing earlier, I think Uzwane had one bad performance and then Uzwane decided to bench him because it's easier. It feels like it's easier to bench the kids from mid-development, and others can just underperform and they will continue playing. So I don't like that fact, but it is what it is. Utsepiso says we need Samgelo Zwane to supply the balls. We need players who are just comfortable on the ball all around. Everyone who is technical or Hadebe can fit this game perfectly, depending on how Richards Bay sets up. If Richards Bay sits deep, then we'll definitely need Abo Samgelo, because, as I said, if they sit deep, you don't need any defensive player in your team. You just need players who can play the ball, move it around as much as possible to a point where the guys can't deal with us moving the ball that much. Zuyanda says Caleb is going to disappoint all of us by scoring and winning the game for us today. After this game, we'll all be praising him. Mark my words. That's what I'm saying, me. Nukuthi Caleb. Angifuna abantu betting 10 ngo Caleb. Mina ngiyangibuka ngithi manje I am live. I'm saying Caleb, he's going to perform. Say I'm crazy, but Caleb. Robert Tokuzan says abantu abayeka ukuba ngamajaji amanye ama-team namhlanje siya wina silikhosi Thokozani Dlamini. I don't get that comment, but anyways, Happy says, are we going to watch the game here? No, unfortunately, but you can go to streamwatch.com or streamwatch. Just search, go to YouTube, not YouTube, go on your browser, whatever browser that you are using, and search stream to watch. I can't share the link here because it can put me in trouble with DStv, because but kune site to stream to watch. Stream as in STREAM2, like the number 2, then watch as in WATCH, and then a game you can find it there. Kuno Super Sport Lab. There's the Super Sport channels there. You can watch it from there, because if I did it here, I would be in trouble and they would block my channel. So I don't want that to happen. So guys, I will see you at halftime. Caleb would have already started scoring his goals. So Caleb Pimenyimana, the Black Panther. Amakosi, 77% of people said Chiefs is winning this game. 14% said it's a draw. 7% said we are going to lose. Wow. Okay. 63 votes, 435 views, 20 likes. Asenze injustice, guys. Let's like the video. And then Mina, I will see you at halftime. Bye bye. Ikosi. Kosa lingapheli moya. Gaming akaqali.